So we are speeding along. We are already in reading 23, and the first chapter title is called Finally. Now, the last time we read, Ivan had made all those pictures where he wanted a message to get out to Julia. So maybe that's what finally means. That's my prediction, but I might be wrong. Remember, when you're done listening to this, to write a full summary, which is more than a sentence. It's like a whole paragraph of the important points from this reading. So some students, like Kinley, they actually write it as they're listening. That's a really good idea too. So here goes. Finally, page 214. Julia and George take the pictures to the ring, where there's room to see them all. Boy, I'm surprised they're doing it, because remember, George was so tired and he wanted to go home. An hour passes as they try to assemble my puzzle. Ruby's awake now, and she and Bob and I watch. Ivan, Ruby says, "Is that a picture of me?" "Yes," I say proudly. Where am I supposed to be?" Listen to this, that's a zoo. Ruby, see the walls and the grass and the people looking at you? Ruby squints. Who are all those other elephants? You haven't met them, I say, yet. It's a very nice zoo, Ruby says with an approving nod. Bob nudges me with his cold nose. It is indeed. In the ring, Julia pumps her fist in the air. Yes, she cries. I told you, Dad. There it is. H-O-M-E. Home. George gazes at the letters. He spins around to look at me. Maybe it's just a coincidence, Jules. You know, a once in a trillion kind of thing, like in that old saying about the chimp and the typewriter. Give him long enough, and he'll write a novel. I make a grumbling noise, as if a chimp could write a letter, let alone a book. Then how do you explain the rest of it? Julia demands. The picture of Ruby in the zoo. How do you know it's a zoo? George asks. See the circle on the gate? There's a red giraffe on it. Julia squints and tilts her head. George squints and tilts his head. Are you sure that's a giraffe? I was thinking more along the lines of a deformed cat. It's the logo for the zoo, Dad. It's on all their signs. Explain that. George gives a helpless smile. I can't begin to. I'm just saying there has to be a logical explanation. Look how big this is. Julia puts the last piece of Ruby's right ear into place. It's huge. It is definitely large, George agrees. Julia watches me. She chews on her thumbnail. I see the question in her eyes. She looks back to the paintings and stares at them, looking, truly looking. A slow smile dawns on Julia's face. Dad, she says, I have an idea, a big idea. Julia races around the edge of my painting, her arms spread wide. Billboard, big. I'm not following you. I think this is meant to be on a billboard. This is what Ivan wants. George crosses his arms over his chest. What Ivan wants, he repeats slowly. And you know this because you two have been chatting? Because I'm an artist and he's an artist. Says George. Julia clasps her hands together. Come on, Dad, I'm begging you. George shakes his head. No, I'm not doing that. No billboard, no way. I'll get the ladder, Julia says. You get the glue. I know it's dark out, but the billboard's lit. Mac will fire me, Jules. Julia considers. But think of the publicity, Dad. Everyone would know about Ruby. You want me to put up a sign that shows Ruby in a zoo with the word home on it in giant letters? George gestures towards my pictures. A sign, incidentally, that just happens to be made by a gorilla? Exactly. And you want me to do it without Mac's permission? George asks. Exactly. No, George says, no way. Julia goes to the edge of the ring, careful not to step on any of the paintings. She picks up Mac's claw stick. She walks back and hands it to her father. George runs a finger along the blade. She's just a baby, Dad. Don't you want to help her? But how would it help, Jules? Even if lots of people see Ivan's sign, it doesn't mean anything's going to change. I'm not exactly sure yet. Julia shakes her head. Maybe people will see the sign and they'll know this isn't where Ruby belongs. Maybe they'll want to help her. George sighs. He looks at Ruby. She waves her trunk. It's a matter of principle, Dad. Principale. George corrects. Dad, Julia says softly, what if Ruby ends up like Stella? George looks at me, at Ruby, at Julia. He drops the claw stick. The ladder, he says quietly, is in the storage locker. Listen to the next chapter title, The Next Morning. I watch Mac's car door slam. No, I watch Mac's car slam to a halt in the parking lot. He leaps out. He stares at the billboard. His jaw is open. He doesn't move for a long time. So that is the end of reading 23. We'll find out tomorrow in reading 24 what Mac's reaction is. So remember, go to Google Doc and do an amazing summary and flood it with a ton of questions, predictions, feelings, and thoughts, because that is just what good readers do.